Welcome back to another episode of Stories with Heath. We appreciate all the help that y'all are giving us to try to get our channel up and going. The algorithm surely doesn't do us any favors. So when you guys subscribe and you like and you comment, that helps. But sharing is what helps the most. So if you get any good out of this content, please take a moment and share it with somebody because we need all the help we can get. Today I want to continue a story that we started the other day about God speaking to me on my way home from Southern Miss, how I was driving and he convicted me of the life that I was living. In that conversation, he told me that my plans were about to change. See, I'd been going to college to become a highway patrolman, and my ultimate goal was to become a state investigator, maybe become federal some point, and live my life solving the crimes and mysteries of the world. But I was getting a degree in criminal justice and getting a minor in forensics, and God told me during that conversation that I was not going to ever work in that field again. And I made him a deal then that I would go wherever he told me to go, and I would do whatever it was that he told me to do, but just as long as he let me finish the degree, because my daddy would have killed me if I hadn't. So I went and I finished the degree, and I began to try to find where it was that I was going to land. And I started putting in applications in different places, and even with a degree, there was really nothing that opened up for me. And I finally got a job at a little company called House Implements that made tractor parts. They're out of business now, but they were there in Laurel, Mississippi, and we got a job there, and it was okay. It was a notch above slave labor. They paid us almost nothing. They worked us like dogs, but it wasn't long till I had worked my way up to being a lead for them, and just out of college, and was going places. And then God came to me and spoke and said, "It's time to leave." I'm like, I don't want to leave. I want to work for the same company for my whole life, get the gold watch, the whole 9 yards. I want stability, whatever. I had just married Selena, and I wasn't in a hurry to leave, but a series of events started taking place, and I realized it was time for me to go. And one of our suppliers, the delivery driver, came in and said, "Hey, look, we're about to lose a guy, and you could do this job. You're okay with sales. You could handle the paperwork of it. Why don't you come to work for us?" So I left there, and I went to work for the company that delivered our welding supplies, Norton Smith. Again, another company that really isn't anymore. And I worked for Norton Smith for almost a couple of years, and during that time I learned a lot about sales. I learned a lot about how to drive, which I thought I knew. Right now, still, I can drive better backwards than I can forwards now, but it was a lot that I learned. I learned how to roll two welding gas cylinders at the same time. I tried it the other day. I can still do it, and I was shocked. But anyway, I learned a lot. But it came up to a time. It was time to go again. And I didn't want to go because I was satisfied. I wanted to stay, but the Lord put it on my heart that it was time for me to go and to do something else. And one of my customers on that route needed help. They wanted me to come and run their receiving for them. And I had a family member who worked for the company, and the company was a Christian company, and so I said, okay. All right, I can do that. I can come run your receiving for you. But Selena was at the time pregnant with Nathaniel, and she was just about ready to give birth. But I had a couple of weeks of vacation that I had been saving up for his birth, and so I let him know I'm going to take all my 2 weeks when the baby's born. And the second I came back from those 2 weeks, I put in my 2 weeks and worked out those 2 weeks, and then jumped ship and went over to this company. Well, that was 2001, and even before 9/11, there was a shakeup happening in the economy, and there was a constriction happening. And when all of it kind of started popping off, this company that was in advertising had lost their largest client, And when that happened, they had a layoff. And so my first day of work, I arrived before I ever punched the clock. I was laid off with a new baby at home, no benefits, nothing. And I was devastated because I thought that I was following what it was that God told me to do. And now here I am in a really, really, really bad spot. So I went and I started doing what the old way of doing things, with a resume, shaking hands, trying to make a good impression. I even got told that I didn't have enough nut and bolt turning experience to work as an assembler for a company I eventually went to work for as a machinist, but that's neither here nor there. So it was a bad period of time, and nothing was opening up. And I had a friend who called and said, "Hey, look, I'm starting a new business with Primerica. I'd like for you to hear it out." And so I heard it out, and I don't do anything else. So I went to one of their meetings, and I could do that. And so I began selling insurance. And I learned so much about public speaking. That's where I got introduced to the idea of leadership and learning leadership. Became a huge follower of John Maxwell and his work in teaching leadership. And so much of my life changed because of those circumstances. But that was not the first time I had been approached by Primerica. I had been approached when everything was going well in my life. I didn't need it. The opportunity had been there, but I didn't take it because I was hard-headed and I wouldn't listen. And I was determined to do it my way. The time had to be right for me to be open to the opportunities that God wanted me to walk through. And it took really, really bad things happening to me for me to be willing to let go enough of the reins to go the way that He was leading me to go. In the Bible, a lot of times God uses sheep to describe people. And in a lot of ways, we are very sheep-like. But some of us can be stubborn as a mule, headstrong, and unwilling to listen to guidance and correction, trying to do it our way. And it takes a humbling for us to be able to be used in any way. And sometimes God has to take us through those very painful paths to shave off of us the things that we need to lose so that we can ultimately be used for Him in His purposes in the way that He wants to use us and the way He designed us to be used. If there was an easier way to do it, that's probably the way He would do it. For some reason, I insist on it being hard. I don't know if you're in the same boat I am, but as time progressed and things went on, I've got more stories about how it all fell apart at Primerica, and that was a me thing, not a Primerica thing. But that's kind of the end of that story here today. We'll pick it up again later, but the moral of it is, you can have all the plans and desires and goals and dreams and aspirations that you want. But if God's not in it, it's not going to prosper. But there is a path for you in your life that has more fulfillment, more joy, more influence, more effectiveness, more of everything it is you really want. And it's probably not the path you would have chosen for yourself. But you have to be open to the way that God's leading you. I hope that you are. And I hope that you listen to that still small voice as He drags you toward where it is He wants you to be. And maybe it's something amazing that you never would have thought of. Or maybe it's something that doesn't sound fun at all, but turns out to be some of the most rewarding stuff you've ever done. Just hang in there. Follow where He's leading you. Hang in there. I love you. We'll talk to you later. Bye.